Well, hello, and welcome to the Points of Interest podcast. This is the most generic podcast on the internet. My name is Josh Hawks. I am the 303 Ninja, and right over there, he is my podcasting partner for life. He is the other guy. It's Mr. Francis Fernandez.
I like that. Apple or the Mac will blur the special effects when I have it happening behind me, with the laser show and the fireworks and the confetti. For some reason, it's like, no, we're gonna blur it anyway, even though it's not like in the background. It's like really me.
Well, it's because you have blur. You have the blur filter on, so I think it's just.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, the filter overrides everything.
So silly, but
it is. But you know, that's everything that is POI is just silliness, and we're not serious around here.
Breaking news. Sorry, this just came up on my Twitter feed because I
like breaking news.
Game Informer is back.
Game Informer. That was Game Informer.
The free magazine you got from GameStop whenever you did
Okay.
So they went away.
My favorite rag, gaming rag by any means, just because it was too. It was everything that GameStop wanted you to buy. It didn't really cover the rest of gaming. It was like very specific. Like, here are the games we're really interested in you to buy.
Yeah, I don't remember much about. Like, I got because I had the premium whatever thing that they had that gave you the Game Informer every month. But I'm like, whatever. I don't know how closely I paid attention to Game Informer.
Push is talking about Shut the Fridge as a magazine. I don't think I knew that one.
Shut the Fridge. I missed that magazine. Oh, what? Shut the Fridge?
I don't know that one. Or is he saying about Game Informer? I think maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if Shut the Fridge is a magazine.
I mean, it'd be an interesting name for a magazine.
Maybe he was trying to say Shut the Front Door, which is like the acronym for Shut the Fuck Up, right? Is S. Oh, there you go. I just said it. Okay. Well, fine.
Okay.
Yes, but yeah, it's back.
Yeah.
Independent.
I was more of an EGM guy.
Same. Very much an EGM
now,
guy.
It's something you might find interesting, Francis, because I am thinking about giving EGM even more of my money than I've already have over the last 20 years. They now are digital only, but it's an archive. You can go back and look at every EGM from way back in the day to issue 1 all the way up to when they ended in 2004. I don't think that's I don't think it was that far. I don't think they lasted that long.
Push says EGM was cool too, but so did GamePro and PlayStation Magazine. I was a GamePro guy as well. I like GamePro.
GamePro. I didn't get a ton of GamePros. They were there when EGM wasn't there. GamePro was.
Yeah, the magazine I remember going away, and I was like, oh, that's sad. Was like FHM and Maxim. Like those magazines.
I had a subscription to Maxim. I'm not gonna try and front, and be too proud. No, that's a great magazine. Well, great as in the sense of it was great for a 20-year-old brain.
Right. I guess it's still being published, I guess. But I don't remember. I don't see him. I mean, I don't look at magazines anymore, so I'd be surprised. I don't think FHM exists anymore.
I doubt it. I don't recall ever really seeing much of the FHM. Or I wasn't really aware of it because Maxim was like, nope, that's where I'm going for my, safe for work smut.
Do you think Hustler still exists?
I don't know. The one you need to look up is, does Swank still exist?
I know Hustler, the adult stores exist though. But uh, Swank? It's called Swank?
There was one, yeah.
Oh yeah, here it is. Swank magazine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is.
There it is. June. Oh. So I guess it looks like it ended in 2004. So, but I've never heard of Swank before. I've never heard of that one.
I don't even want to go into and tell you why I know about that one.
The articles are really maybe 2004 wasn't the last one, but the articles that they have on the cover, they like 50 ways to do this, 50 hottest movies of all time. Okay,
Sure, yeah, that's pretty
immortal humans cheat death. Okay, and then mortal humans cheat
if
death.
they're immortal, they're not really cheating death. They're immortal.
And then lastly, of the 5, the other one I'll just say is Sun Twins Deep Throat Secrets. Oh,
take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath. Relax the throat. Wow, sorry, Ginger. Welcome.
Yeah, great
Welcome.
timing. No, Maxim, like I said, yeah, I thought it was great, safe for work smut. There was no nudity in it, but it was suggestive. That's for damn sure. And all the articles were just trash. They're just kind of like this podcast.
Well, it was the equivalent of like the Cosmo. It's like it was guys Cosmo.
Yeah, it kind of was. It kind of was.
50 ways to trim your beard and like the secrets to a good steak. It's like, okay, thanks,
50
Maxim.
ways to shave your crotchal area.
Sure, yeah, I'm sure it was the dawn of manscaping was through that magazine, so I wouldn't be surprised.
The Maxim model of the month.
Which one year, my favorite year, which was I think 2000. It has to be 2004. Actually, we keep going back to 2004, but I believe that's when the cover girl in like March or June was the lead character of Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, the CGI movie. And they had the female from the CGI movie in a bikini as their cover girl, and I was like, oh. And I think I have it in a box. I have it in a box somewhere, I'm sure.
We have officially jumped the shark.
Well, they were trying to sell that.
I know. That movie did garner a lot of hype back in the day. And promotion was coming from all different angles.
Yeah.
It got me. It got me. I went and saw it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a good movie, but I appreciate it for what it was,
I think if you were a Final Fantasy fan, it made a lot more sense.
No, it didn't.
Okay.
Because it had nothing to do with Final Fantasy. Like, it didn't do any... Final Fantasy was just there by name. Like, none of it, like, had any association with the Final Fantasy brand. It was like, oh.
Yeah,
I need to make a movie.
I didn't see no chocobos, really, or...
yes!
I didn't see any turn-based fighting.
Yeah.
Nobody was in the corner rolling dice, seeing if they got a hit or not.
Yeah. You're spot on, man. You're spot on. Anyway, how's it been? How's your week?
I mean, as far as the show goes, the week was great, Francis. In real life, it was, it was all right. Things are, we're moving into spring. Colorado's finally decided to move into spring a little bit more. We're not taking our coats off quite yet. I mean, today, yes, but like, there's a storm always that's going to catch us, if we don't look out. So, but with that, comes more adventure and wonderment. Someplace I won't be this weekend, unfortunately, because real life calls. But this weekend is WonderCon.
I really like that transition.
Did you
really
like
like that.
That was pretty good. Yeah, I really... you have WonderCon and San Diego Comic-Con, the brother and sister show.
Mm-hmm.
Of the two, WonderCon is more fun.
It's funny because I think the hype for conventions has definitely died down. I don't think
2020
it has.
killed conventions.
Yeah, 2020 killed conventions for the last, I mean, it built up a little bit, and then it's back to I would say 2010, convention hype. And so last year was my first year missing WonderCon. I usually go every year. They're like my second home convention, aside from LA Comic Con. Those are like my two home conventions. It's like your Denver Comic, or it's like your Denver Comic Fest or whatever it's called.
FanX.
Thank you.
Well, now we're on the fourth name of the Denver Comic Con. Dink dink. Fourth iteration. But go on.
It's had so many names. I had a hard time even coming up with any of its past.
I mean,
names.
you hit almost all the names in that sentence. You're like Fan Fest Call or whatever you said. I mean, that's kind of almost all of them.
So I did purchase a ticket for this upcoming WonderCon. I also am planning to meet up with a friend of ours there afterward, which is another reason why I'm going. It's like, well, at least I'll be in the area. Like I'll be there to be able to go and do stuff. But also, again, like I said, it's been a while since I've been to. I missed last year, and I'm sad I did. So this year I didn't want to miss. I'm glad I didn't decided not to miss it. I was planning on missing it. I'm like, I'm gonna go watch it. But what makes WonderCon great is a big cosplay. Big cosplay convention.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the Anaheim Convention Center, so there's a lot of local places to eat. It's literally across the street from Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
Like Disneyland is right there.
Yep, you definitely want to make sure you go there without marijuana in your pocket,
or a camera equipment,
yeah, Jesus Christ,
harassed by security. If, like Josh, you want to be harassed by security, bring your camera equipment.
bring your professional camera equipment, and then have an argument about semantics.
As if they didn't know that WonderCon is just across the street with the giant signs telling them WonderCon is happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus, I'm wearing a fucking badge that says "press" on it.
I don't know. We might have taken our badge off by that point.
We may have. I can't remember. Maybe not the first time. But if I had all the camera equipment with me, then definitely not.
No. And we just like bringing up our little stint through downtown Disney because we also met Steve Aoki's doppelganger, or it was him. We still don't know. Still don't know.
I'm leaning towards yes, it was, just because otherwise, why would some random person that looked like Steve Aoki want to have a conversation about my camera holster?
Yeah. Your camera was like the source of half our entertainment that night.
Yeah.
And, it caused us trouble, and then some dude was like gushing over it and like your little holster clip. Like, oh, we gotta talk about the holster clip. Your camera. Oh. So it's
first. Tell me how you got into music, Steve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who cares about the camera? Tell me about your music, your DJing. But like, I think that's what makes WonderCon special. It's a part of it, Comic-Con International, so it's not as huge as San Diego, but it's enough to where people want to go and have a good time and go to panels and like have some exclusive stuff happen.
It is a good panel convention, panel and cosplay convention.
Yeah,
and it's something that I didn't realize, I think the first year I went, because I was like, all right, it's going to be like Comic-Con, just smaller. And it kind of is in some ways, but it really is more relaxed. I mean, 95% of the floor is carpeted.
Yes, it is. But you were also, that was the first time you were there. I believe that was the year you talked to a lot of people at their booths and stuff. If I recall.
I believe it was, just because,
Yeah.
I have to be an extrovert while we're there.
Yeah. Right. And you did interviews and stuff, so like you were busy. But yeah, it was a good time. I'm going back again this year. I'll have a little wrap up, I guess, next week. But I am definitely going to be going.
Well, I wrote it for this week, so it's good that it's happening this weekend and not this past one.
My only issue is though, okay, so I had to buy the ticket, and for the convenience of buying a ticket online, they charged me an extra $15 as like thanks for buying this ticket on the internet. Like, come on, guys.
So if you'd print it, had the ticket sent in a will call or mailed to you, would it have been free?
I don't know. I have no idea because I'm like, what's the $15 for?
There's a printing fee of $25.
Yeah, it's like, if you're gonna just add it to the cost at the very least, like just don't beat around the bush and say it's $55 for a ticket, and then at checkout be like, well, for convenience, we're gonna add on another $15 to your
and what convenience is that? Who is it convenient for?
Blame Ticketmaster. They're the ones that started it. They're the ones that put a $35 print at home convenience fee. It's like, oh, we don't have to waste money and do the work. Well, you get to pay us for that privilege of using your own stuff.
So I'm paying you for the ticket. That's okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
You're a ticket broker.
Sure.
But then you're charging me to use my own printer and ink that I paid for.
Mm-hmm.
I have to pay you to be allowed to print something. The one time I printed something, it was an airline ticket.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
And I went to the TSA podium thing. Like, here's my ticket and my ID. Please don't look at my bags. And the guy looked at the QR code and went, "This is messed up. This is not like. Do your eyes have scanners in them? How you haven't even scanned it yet? How is it messed up?" I look at these all day. Okay, fair. I don't have an argument for that, but can you at least try and scan it first for my entertainment? Yeah, it didn't work. It was messed up. So then he's like, get out of line. Go get a real ticket. Which, that sucks when you're rushed.
Yeah.
You got to wait for the lady to finish typing fucking War and Peace into that computer.
Bring back when we as just non flyers can go up to the gate and just wish, hug our people goodbye at the gate.
Or you're a teenager, you don't have shit to do, so you just grab all your friends and you go, let's go to the airport and go make up backstories for people. And then everybody's like, that's a great idea. Who's driving?
Did you really do that?
Yeah.
That
we used to do it all the time. Because we were losers and we had nothing to do.
No, but that's fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, like, some people went to, parties when we went to the airport.
You went to the airport and you were checking people out.
Yeah, we made backstories up and, look at this couple hugging each other. Who cheated on who, you think?
Oh, I like that you went for the sweet couple. It's like, not the why are they together? This is weird.
Or, whatever the case was. It was, we go there late and it's like, oh, look, fast food joints are still open. They're not open on the outside.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was another thing. Yeah.
So you can go get your very consistent McDonald's. It's the same every time.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Well, that's because you mentioned it.
No, I know. I just like that you're, plucking things from pre-show to like, well, we're gonna go.
Well, I
Oh
mean,
wait,
it
did I
just
mention
kind of
on
fit.
show?
It
I don't know
fit.
if I
It
mentioned
fit. You know, you're at the
yeah,
airport. What else are you gonna eat? You're not
yeah.
gonna go to one of the restaurants. You're a teenager.
No, no.
You're gonna go to the smoking room and just walk in there and go, okay, don't need to smoke a cigarette. I just smoked everybody's cigarette in here.
That's right. Yeah, because pre 1995, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, right around, maybe a little bit later than that.
Around
Yeah,
there.
you're right
Yeah.
around there.
But you could smoke in the airport.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the one thing I forgot, like, about restaurants. Like, my family, we used to take. I remember our trips to the Sizzler and being
Ah,
like,
the Sizzler,
smoking,
which is
or
just
not
an adventure
smoking.
in and of itself. I mean,
They had dinosaur chicken nuggets, man.
you can't go wrong
In,
with Dino Chicken
in late
Nuggies.
Dino chicken nuggets
47-year-old dude, the Dino Chicken Nuggies taste a little bit better than regular ones.
and to this day, I swear, to this day, aside from the nugs, they have the best clam chowder. The best clam chowder in all of, at least Southern California. I mean, I don't know about anywhere else, but Southern California, if you're looking for a good clam chowder, you go to the Sizzler. If you could find one.
That's the other difficult part.
Yeah.
But you were saying, I think you had something else to say, but maybe I was wrong.
Nothing. I just thinking about smoking, non-smoking.
Oh.
It's just like, man, what a thing that young people will never have to worry about. Even though apparently, and you're fairly tech savvy. Apparently, Zoomers and like young generations are like complete idiots on knowing how computers work. They just, because they're too busy knowing that like you click on the screen and things happen, but they don't know like how to properly use a mouse and keyboard.
Like if you said open a command prompt, they'd be like, huh?
What's a command prompt?
Okay.
What's a disk drive?
I might need to get one of those soon anyway. I want to get my own Plex server going.
You're one of those.
Hey man, we're running
as
out
long as
of
I get
things.
access to it.
I've got tons of physical media, and I'm running out of things to play said media.
Can I have it? Can you give me access to your Plex server?
I mean, yeah, I would.
That's what I love about a Plex server. Oh God, we're not gonna get to the topics you have.
Yeah, we
That's
might.
what I love about a Plex server, because Plex server, I didn't know what that was for a long time, and then apparently everyone has one. I don't, because I stream all my media. I don't buy physical media anymore. So like I stream everything, but apparently I'm a loser, because just get all the media you want, upload it to this freaking Plex server, and then you can just watch whatever you want, whenever you want, any time of day, whether Netflix has a license on it or not. Who cares?
Yeah,
It's like cheaper, and it's cheaper. And,
yeah, I mean, like my I have one of my brothers. He has a huge server. I mean, I think he downloads a lot of stuff, as opposed to uploading his own, or not uploading, but uploading his own media.
Yeah, ripping his own.
Yeah,
media.
That's the word. I was like, this is not the right right words I'm using here. Ripping his own media to it. I think he downloads most of it or all of it. I have a ton of stuff. I would just like to declutter a little bit.
4 terabyte hard drive, super cheap now.
They are. I actually have one sitting over here, but it's an actual disk drive, 4 terabyte. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I said I think I sent you the link to the one I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking about doing that. Anyway, we got other shit to talk about.
That's true.
That's good though. That's good. This is how we just riff. This is what we do.
Well, when you have a podcast completely about nothing, and I don't even think the word podcast like is a thing anymore. It's just a show. Like you don't podcasts aren't really a thing.
That's true.
It's just, here's a show, and we're the most generic show on the internet, so we're just gonna generically talk about anything.
I mean,
so
yeah.
Which we should put it out there. Maybe we should start like the shows this way. We should put it out there, like chat. If there's anything you want to talk about, toss it up on the chat room, and we'll probably get around to
Yes.
talking about
What Francis said.
it. Just because we just kind of pluck topics from the air to talk about.
We do.
You know?
We do. But okay, so there's WonderCon. We did talk about WonderCon, so that was actually on the list.
Okay, good.
So we got that out of the way. Well, let's look here. We do talk about this often on this show. I said show, not podcast. Of celebrity deaths. Notable celebrity deaths. I mean, people die all the time, but the ones that that have some sort of effect on us, we talk about.
Yeah.
And last week, George Foreman died at 87 or 92 or something like that.
He was not that old. He was only 76.
76. That's pretty young. That sucks.
Really, yeah.
George Foreman. Yeah. When I was a kid, he was already George Foreman as you and I all know him now. Just a big guy. I think he was ending his boxing career when he punched. It looked like, remember that old puppet, the little finger puppet that had two triggers inside that did the punching? It kind of looked like that when he punched.
What you're talking about.
It kind of looked like that when he punched. It didn't like there was no force behind it, but he was knocking people out still at, however old he was. So he retires from the boxing life. And I think during the boxing life, during his career, he was busy repopulating the earth with his 8 children, 6 of whom are named George or a variation of the name George.
They got all 8, so you only got 6 of them, huh?
Yeah, because he's got 2, I think, from a different lady, possibly. And they have like regular names.
Okay.
But then everybody else is George 2, 3, 4, and 5, I believe. And then there's Georgina. And I think a Georgia.
Georgetta.
I was close.
Then there is, so I'm guessing the 2 kids. Oh, he has. Well, I don't know if this is real, because I looked for all the names of his kids, and it's like, there's a lot of names here. Georgetta, Frida, which is one of the non-Georges, but that's from the recent, and Leola.
That's it.
Oh, yes. Natalie. So all the girls got the regular names.
Georgina isn't regular. Georgetta isn't really regular.
There's George, Little Joey.
In different cultures, but, not something I've heard growing up.
Hey, good on the wife for, being like, yeah, that's cool. Go ahead and name all your kids.
I mean, he wanted to make sure his legacy stuck around.
Can't do that with Josh. That's harder.
Nah, you really can't. And I'm not having no fucking 8 kids either. No, God, no. But yeah, so 8 kids, 6 of them are all named George. What else do I got on here? Okay, so everybody knows George Foreman for the George Foreman grill. But if the stories out there in the world are true, had Hulk Hogan answered the phone when his publicist called, it could have been the Hulk Hogan grill. But luckily he didn't answer the phone, and he got the Hulkamania meatball maker. Which,
so
that's the first time when I wrote that down, was the first time I even fucking heard that thing. So it obviously didn't do very well.
No, I did. Oh, I thought you were joking. That's a real thing.
When I did my research, Francis, I didn't go deep enough to see if the Hulkamania meatball maker was actually real or not. But when I looked up tidbits about George, that's what I found.
So
Or
I
specifically the
was.
George Foreman grill, I should say.
So I don't know what your relationship with the George Foreman grill is.
I mean,
Because I kind of.
we had a thing. We, made a few burgers, a couple steaks. I tried a panini one time. It didn't really work as well, but, it toasted the bread.
So I only knew him. I didn't know about his. Like I knew he was like a former boxer, but I knew him for his George Foreman grill, and it's only because I had a friend of mine who was obsessed with it.
Okay.
Cooked everything on the George Foreman grill because it's healthier. If you cook a steak, all the oil drips off the steak into the little gusset at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you burgers, same thing. Chicken, same thing. So he made everything on the grill. Like he didn't really cook, or he didn't have a barbecue, which does exactly the same thing, just except it goes down into the coals or whatever. No, he had the freaking grill, and every time I hung out with this dude, he had something, anything, cooking on that grill. And he got like the different iteration. Like when the grill got like improved, he's like, "Gotta buy the grill, new Foreman grill. Oh, here's the new grill 3.0. Gotta get the grill."
Yep, the family size. Gotta get that one.
So I am very like weirdly familiar with the George Foreman grill.
I had one in the first apartment I had. My first apartment was with a girl I was living with, and I can't remember if it was gifted to us or if we got it ourselves, but either way we had one, and you could fit like 2 burgers on it, or like 1 piece of meat, maybe a couple chicken boobs or something.
Yeah.
But like it was tiny, and then at some point we got a bigger one because why not?
Why not?
But yeah, I'm certain most people are probably more familiar with George Foreman, the grill slanger, more than they are the boxer.
Well, he did all of the infomercials for them.
He did.
Like he did the commercials and the infomercials. So you saw his face a lot. He was on the tabloids a lot for his kids being named all George. Apparently, he was Ginger's favorite boxer. Such comic, great personality, and character, and all his kids were named George. You gotta love it. And people did. People ate up tabloids because his kid would be born. He's like, "I'm naming my kid George the Seventh." Good on you, George. Good on you, George. So yeah, fair. I mean, it's kind of cool that we can say 71's young.
Yeah. That as an aside, yes, you're not wrong.
Yeah. But I mean, he was a boxer. Even though he retired in '77, he was a boxer. So he did get beat up, which does unfortunately I mean, it wears your body down.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he might have been able to live to 100, but he was a boxer. So unfortunately, boxers on average just don't have long lifespans.
I got another tidbit about the George Foreman grill. You want it?
Hit me! I love it. I love this George Foreman facts.
But let's have fun with it. Let's have fun with it, Francis.
Let's do it. I love it. Let's do it.
In the Asian markets, who is the George Foreman dink dink in the Asian markets for the same grill? Don't look it up. I see your fingers fingering.
No. I'm actually looking. I'm actually getting information about the grill. The George Foreman grill. I'm gonna say it's. Who was the really tall Celtics basketball player?
Oh, Yao Ming.
Yao Ming. Yao Ming.
No. Give you 2 more guesses.
Okay. Is it a sports person?
Depends on how you define sport.
Oh, I hope it's Jackie Chan.
God
is
damn
it Jackie
it.
Chan?
Yep, it is.
Oh yeah. I would, because that's who I would want my grill to be after, is Jackie Chan. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, good for him. I'm so glad.
Yeah, so Jackie Chan
What's it called?
is the I don't know. What the
All
George
right.
Foreman? What's it called? The George Foreman.
It's the Foreman grill.
I know it has a tagline before it's the George. I mean, it's Every
Oh, you're right.
fat burning something.
Something.
It does. I don't know. I don't know what it's called in the Asian market. It's just Jackie Chan's
That's amazing.
grill.
I'm happy.
Fat
I'm
burning
happy to hear
grill.
that.
I
That makes me happy.
I want a Jackie Chan grill, to be honest with you.
Now I'm looking at Jackie Chan.
Like
Oh, there it
you might have to get like a converter, but I'm sure you can get one.
So Jackie Chan. Okay, so Jackie Chan. It is a George Foreman grill,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the Jackie Chan version. So it's
Yeah.
called the George. Okay. Oh, okay.
It's the
Okay.
George Foreman grill, but in Asian markets, because
the
they don't know
Jackie
who the
Chan
fuck
grill.
George Foreman is. They had to pick somebody else.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna find one and buy one because I want it so bad.
I mean, how could you not?
Even though apparently no one's selling it because it's from the early
yeah.
or late 90s, early 2000s.
I don't even know if they sell the George Foreman grill anymore.
I don't think so either. Which sucks because I mean,
It
they
worked.
do.
Okay. I mean,
They
it
do.
worked. Yeah. I mean, it didn't make the best steak in the world. Didn't make the best burger in the world. But if you wanted a burger at home and didn't have a barbecue, it worked.
It's good for indoor grilling. Yeah, if you want to do indoor grilling, you can use George. But I mean, it's essentially the equivalent of the Magic Bullet. I mean, it's the Magic.
I
Bullet,
mean,
but
I'm not sitting down to towel myself off to watch the George Foreman infomercial.
it didn't have an amazing storyline and like.
No, it did. There was no inherent swingers party that happened the night before with the George Foreman.
Yeah, there
grill.
was a colorful cast of characters for the George Foreman grill.
Yeah, anybody wants a 22-minute good time, look up the Magic Bullet infomercial. The Magic Bullet blender. That's important because otherwise,
Blender.
Otherwise, you might find something else. But it might be just as entertaining, but may not be family friendly.
My girlfriend at the time and I every Sunday morning looked forward to seeing the same exact. It never changed. It was the same infomercial every Sunday morning at like 9 or something, and we both look forward to it. We got excited to watch. I hate broccoli.
That's the whipping blade. Remember that, Berman, right?
I don't have sound bites of
the lady, of the old lady,
uh
or of the girlfriend or the wife or whatever.
I got this one. I think this is the lady.
From last night's barbecue.
See, last night's barbecue. That was a swingers party.
Curry powder for everything.
That's the line. I was trying to remember the line. There's the
Curry
line.
powder for everything.
Curry powder for everything.
Oh man, when you first told me about that, I about pissed myself, and then I watched it, and it was fairly entertaining.
Hey, don't blame me. You know, I wasn't the only one endorsing it. Savannah was very much on my corner.
Oh,
in
for
regards
sure,
to the
for
Magic
sure.
Bullet. Yeah.
I just who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? I mean, if George Foreman had made a fun commercial, we'd be talking about that years later. But he just kind of showed up, and he was too to the point. He's like, my grill makes stuff fast and with no fat. I mean, okay, sweet. I mean, you can't really infomercial that because otherwise you're just waiting for shit to cook.
Yeah, he romp appealed it, unfortunately.
Said it.
He said it and forget it.
Yes. Infomercials. We need to do a whole thing on infomercials aside from the Magic Bullet.
Set it up.
Do you remember the he was Australian or he was a Kiwi? I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to alienate anybody. He had that kind of an accent though, from that region of the planet. And it was something like a car wax, a car protectant of some sort, and he would set cars on fire and then like put the fire out and wipe it away. Like, look, it's still shiny.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you what the product was. The product is what you need to know.
Oh, was he the one that would like go into the junkyard
Yes.
and be like,
Here's
look
this.
what I can do.
Yeah, here's this horribly
yeah.
sun bleached, hood of a car. I'm gonna wax this one side.
Yeah, he sprays like a thing, and then he
Yeah,
just wipes
new
it
finish. New finish.
Yeah.
God, why can I remember that, but I don't know how to be a fucking adult?
I'm not one, so I don't know. I can't answer that because I am not one myself. So
47 years old, have no idea how to tie a tie or balance a checkbook or.
you don't have to balance your checkbook.
I'm just saying. I know you don't need to anymore. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just like.
Yeah. Tying a tie, though. I mean, really, how often you need to tie it? But tying a bow tie is really the thing. I don't know how to tie a bow tie.
Dude, I can't tie a
not
regular
one.
tie. Don't even give me instructions on how to do a bow tie. If I can't do a regular tie, I tie my shoes when I get them the first time I put them on. Then I don't ever tie them again.
The worst part is a tie has like 30 different knots.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's 30 different ways to tie a tie. I only know one way, which is like the Windsor knot. That's like the only knot I know.
The big fat.
But apparently there's like the fat one. Yeah, the fat one at the top. But there's like a thin one. There's like a double knot thing. There's like I'm like, I don't know. Forget. That's too
there's
much
like
for
the
me.
double Windsor. I'm like, what is that? That's like really fat then, right?
It's like I don't know what any of this is. Why do you need to know how to? Why does there have to be more than one way to tie a tie?
I worked for this place, Francis, that we talked about a lot. It was for a TV company.
Yes.
And there was a guy that worked there. And, I'm not going to speak poorly about the guy because he's unfortunately no longer amongst the living. But he would show up with these extravagantly tied ties that he spent more time tying than he did tying his shoe or brushing his hair or something. And I'd be like, look at the dedication this guy has. That's great. I wish I had that kind of dedication, but like, why are you doing that? Who are you trying to impress? You're in the wrong department for that. The department you're in is the shit department.
Question. Yeah, I don't know why.
I mean, it's great that you're trying to be the shiniest piece of shit in this department, but like, the tie's not going to get you a better position.
No.
Also, we don't see customers. Why are you getting all dressed up?
You're not customer facing yet.
Yeah.
Acting as if you are.
Well, you work in the headquarters. I guess you're supposed to look the part as well.
Right.
I guess. Yeah. Looking the part. Oh, yeah. Somebody's got a new look, Francis. Everybody should have a new look every once in a while.
Why not?
You got to change it up. You can't just be the same thing forever. You were once unbearded. You were once super clean cut.
For most of my life, I was.
You had to switch it up.
Yeah.
Well, a UFC fighter by the name of Cain Velasquez, former UFC fighter.
Sure.
Also former WWE performer / wrestler. So he tried a few different things. He was pretty good at the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
But, like we were talking before about, your body taking hits and whatnot, he had to get out a little early. He goes over to the WWE. Has about a 1 year unsuccessful run. He left that. He wasn't very good at that, let's say. So he goes down to Mexico and wrestles for AAA a few times. He wasn't really good at that. So he thought, well, why don't I try my hand at murder? See if I'm any good at that. I'm trying to make fun of this as best I can, but Cain Velasquez, he's going to prison for possibly up to 5 years for attempted murder, driving down a street, shooting through his own windshield at somebody, missing his intended target and hitting the person's relative instead with non-life-threatening shots. I don't know what. Oh, something to do with some sexual misconduct that the person did to somebody close to Cain Velasquez. I do not remember the details, but Cain was like, fuck that, and went after the guy, attempted to kill him. I should make fun of an attempted murder.
Well, he was trying to be a vigilante.
A vigilante, yeah. It has some vengeance. So I guess there is some good there. And what I was just trying to make fun of the situation, I guess. Trying to.
I mean, it's an interesting situation to make fun of in the sense of.
Well, I was trying to. Yeah, go ahead.
You're a wealthy. I mean, maybe not wealthy, but you're a pretty well-to-do UFC guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, he did. I think he did a 10-year stint in the UFC and was fairly successful. I mean, I think he had a winning percentage.
And moved on to other, WWE and all that stuff. Like he moved on to other things that are like means that he's somewhat of a star. Right? Like people know who he is, and he's known for punching people too. Like he's known for punching up people.
He's got some big hands.
He's got big hands, and yet he went and tried. And look, I understand why he did it.
Yes.
I'm looking at the article now, and I'm like, oh, that's why he did it. Okay, totally get why you're doing it, dude. But just punch the guy.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
You got the fist for it. You're a muscly, buff dude. Just go punch the guy.
Yeah,
like, come on, man.
Especially someone that's trained, and apparently not as disciplined anymore, but at one point was pretty disciplined. Yeah. It's I mean, he went into the court and he was like, no contest.
Yeah, he also apparently went on, I guess they're still calling the podcast, but he went on Kyle Kingsbury's podcast and said, yeah, that's not the way to do it regarding the situation he's in. Like, yeah, that is not, you're right. That's not the way to do it.
Right.
That is not the way you handle a situation like that.
I mean, usually when I'm mad, I try to channel my anger towards somebody, not my own possessions.
Yeah,
You ever shot a car? You ever shot a car, Francis? You ever shot a gun inside of a car, Francis? You ever shot a gun anywhere?
I've never held a gun in my life.
Okay. Well, when you shoot a gun, it's fucking loud. I couldn't imagine shooting a gun inside your car without ear protection.
True, but I think you're in the heat of the moment, and you're just like, well, what's some ear ringing to?
What's some tinnitus? Or
some
tinnitus? Either one is fine. I hate that fucking commercial.
Yeah, I can't believe people call it tinnitus. But yeah, it's a little bit of that for a little bit of justice,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
justice.
I'm not saying, I'm not condoning his actions, but I'm not, saying that they weren't justified either.
And look, I mean, we can kind of, even though we're not really joking about it that much, but you can kind of a little bit because nobody died. It wasn't like there was nothing. Like,
everybody just ended up with some trauma.
Yeah, but even that really, right? Like, he did something stupid, for which I still think I get it, again, kind of the right reasons.
Yeah.
But like, again, you have your fists. Just use your fists. I'm sure those are registered as lethal weapons. Just use your fists.
Everybody's too quick to grab a gun.
As a person who doesn't even know how to get one illegally,
or legally.
Like, I'm curious if I'm curious if the gun was legal or not. I'm assuming it was because he's not getting charged for the gun possession.
Right.
He's only getting charged for the shooting, so he must have owned it legally.
Well, what I thought was funny when I kind of skimmed over things and kind of read over things is that he wrestled for AAA while wearing an ankle bracelet, like a ankle monitor. It happened in 22.
Yeah. So he was still allowed to do his normal everyday stuff,
Yeah.
but under.
So
Okay, that's
like,
funny.
I don't know if when he wrestled, if it was exposed, or if they tried to cover it up with
Under a sock.
tape or something. Yeah, a sock.
On tape, yeah.
I have no idea, but apparently wrestled with an ankle monitor.
Wow. Good on him for, still doing his job despite the fact that he's like on trial for murder or trial for attempted murder or whatever.
Murder, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's better than actual murder.
True.
But yeah, it crazy kind of topic that came out. It came out of nowhere. All the wrestling, sites and YouTubes that I frequent, all of them started talking about Cain Velasquez, and I'm like, wait, what is going on? Everybody's headline was like, Cain Velasquez going to jail. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I haven't even heard of him in 5 years, but like, what's going on with him?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've heard his name before. Like I knew, I didn't, I couldn't tell you exactly what he's done, but I'm like, oh, Cain Velasquez. That sounds like I've heard that name before. Like
it sounds like a wrestler's name, like a made up wrestler's name.
Yeah, I remember his name from UFC because I know too many people. I kind of fell out of UFC in general. Not just because I'm like, they're all all the fights are kind of the same now. It's a lot of hugging.
Not wrong there either.
Well, it's not as exciting as it was when the rules were a little more lax back in like the early 2000s when they're like, oh yeah, you can kick him in the groin, go for it. Oh yeah, you can go ahead and like, jump kick them in the face.
You're talking about like the first 3 to 5 UFC events.
Yeah.
There was really no rules back then. They were all held here. Not all of them, but the first like 2 or 3 were held here.
Yeah, so it was a little more no holds barred, and like there were no weight classes, so like a tiny dude would be just up against like this gigantic guy and
go back
still
and look
win.
at UFC 1, and you will see a guy. Well, you'll see a guy with one boxing glove and one bare hand fighting a jiu-jitsu guy, which was fucking hilarious. But one of the matches is a sumo against a taekwondo fighter.
That's awesome. Oh, that's so cool.
The guy's like, the sumo's like 450, something like that. Huge. And the taekwondo guy is, a taekwondo guy. So he's like, 6 ounces.
That was the other thing. It wasn't mixed martial arts either. It was you knew one discipline. Like you knew boxing.
It was street fighting.
A little bit of street fighting.
It was, I mean, yes, you had guys that like the Gracie family came in. They were just jiu-jitsu guys.
Right.
That's all. They didn't throw punches. They didn't kick. They just did jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Then you had, Don Fry and, oh God, I'm forgetting names from back in the day. There was an Irish guy, Ken Shamrock, that were just. Ken Shamrock was the beginning of MMA, where he was he did kickboxing and knew how to grapple, whether that was jiu-jitsu or wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go with you. It was definitely more exciting back then when I worked for the TV company. They provided me with free TV, so it was very easy. Yeah, every got the whole package for free. So it was very easy to pay for the $60 pay-per-view every month because easily justifiable that I'm not paying for TV.
Yeah.
Once I stopped working for the TV company, I started falling out of UFC. Not because I find it boring. It's just because I didn't have a way to watch it without paying for it. And I didn't want to pay for it anymore because I was paying for TV now. But, now I'm a little bit older. I know how to obtain video signals if I want to watch them. So I have watched a bunch of UFC, but it's more of it's on one of the monitors and it's just kind of there, in the background. It's not really, I'm not sitting down to watch it.
I'm with you.
But if it's on, I was like, oh, we'll watch that for a little bit. That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I that's the other thing. I don't really have maybe that's the other thing too. I don't have opportunities to watch it. I don't know anyone who really watches it either. And so it's just like, I don't really particularly care. Like, I don't know who the new up and comers are. I don't know who any of the new kind of fighters
The
are.
early 2000s, when I think that's when UFC really hit its peak of popularity. Anyway, the rise, it was a monstrous rise in popularity, where you couldn't go to any sports bar on a fight night, a Saturday night or a Wednesday night, every once in a while, and it just not be packed.
Yeah.
So I remember going to Buffalo Wild Wings and watching a Wednesday night, free fight, but it was like, let's go watch it with people.
Right.
Free, dink dink, you need cable, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, it was fun back then. Now it's, again, like you said, I don't know who any of the fighters are. So if I turn it on, I just kind of, I look at their stats, look at the tail of the tape, and just go, I like that dude's haircut.
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna vote for him. I'm gonna root for that guy.
There's no like name like in boxing, like for a while Manny Pacquiao was like the guy in like the name of boxing, or like George Foreman, a name in boxing.
Look at that.
Now with UFC, there's no like, there's this name, this person. You hear this person's name, you know exactly who we're talking about.
I mean,
there's
you used
like
to,
that.
right? You had a few. You had a few. Chael Sonnen, right? I think he still makes waves every once in a while. George Foreman used to star in his own sitcom. Wait, what?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
George Foreman had his own.
Yeah. I think it was called.
Don't tell me it's just the George Foreman show.
It's just called George. It's just called George. 1993. Only lasted a season.
Was it on Fox?
It was no. It looks like, well, you know who produced it was Tony Danza. Was the co-producer of the series.
That's kind of cool. Tony Danza does a lot. No one realizes it.
I'm glad he's still doing stuff because
wrestling is the only combat sport with drama. Boxing is not. Well, that is very true, Bush. Boxing is just two guys beating the shit out of each other for half hour.
Well, after the what do you call it? The fight with who fought again? Oh, Mike Tyson and Logan. I mean, do you really want to watch boxing after that debacle?
I mean, if Tyson's walking around with his ass hanging out again, then maybe.
Yeah, well, that was funny.
That was hilarious.
His little thong.
But no, I don't think I want to see either one of those guys fight ever again. Actually, for some reason, the brother versus brother later this summer. Yeah, who cares? Like, you're doing things that my brother and I did 30 years ago. We kicked the shit out of each other back then. It was a lot of fun. We didn't have to do it in front of a whole audience of pay-per-view.
Yeah, but these are like teeny bopper girls find them really attractive, and they're very buff, and they have like, they're bad boys, so people find them interesting. It's like, okay.
Push also says wrestling is just pretending to hit somebody else. I mean, yes and no. Yeah, I mean, they pull their punches for sure.
Unless you have, a weapon in hand, maybe not so much.
Yeah, well, great transition to kind of close things out with. A couple weeks ago on the AEW, there was a wrestling match that involved a spot that called for a spiked bat. We've seen this particular spiked bat used in the past by one of these two wrestlers, and when they used it in the past, it was clearly gigged or rigged. It was a prop of some sort, the board with nails sticking out of it. Clearly, they weren't nails. It was foam or something else. As you see them flailing in the wind as he swings the board around. But this past couple weeks, the same looking baseball bat comes out with a bunch of nails sticking out of it. Those galvanized, like gray nails, not the shiny, polished ones that you would like do something with a house with.
Sure.
And I see the bat come out while I'm watching the wrestling, and I'm like, oh, it's Spike. We haven't seen Spike in a while. And there's a swing into the guy's stomach. And I'm like, oh, that looked dink dink, like it hurt, if you will. And then the one guy puts the board down on the ground, and they do a wrestling move where the person receiving the wrestling move ends up falling back first onto the mat, right where the spiked bat was. Now, as I said before, we've seen this prop in the past, so I just like, oh, he did a really good job at not crushing the prop. Like, he somehow stayed up. I don't know how he did that, but wrestlers are pretty cool sometimes. And then he got up off the mat, and this board was apparently real fucking knives, real galvanized nails sticking into this man's back. You asked me before the show, was it intentional? Yes, but I don't believe Francis is trying to change his focus on his camera. If anybody's wanting to know what he's doing. I don't think they intended for the nails to go into this guy's back as far as they did, because it took two grown men to pull nails out of this man's back. People online, there's a lot of debate as to why that spot happened on a free television show and not a pay-per-view. I have questions like that as well, but I was sitting there going, those aren't the shiny, polished, good nails. Those are those nasty ones that have barbs and, you're like driving a concrete or something. I was shocked. I was shook. I was shook.
I'm amazed that they allowed for that to be put out there.
Well,
as
that's
a prop,
and that's been the debate over the last couple of weeks. Is what advertisers are a thing still, even though it's on Max. It's still streaming on TNT as well, or whatever. It's on TNT and it's streaming on Max. They still have commercials. That's not really ad friendly. Nails sticking in somebody's back. As an aside, a couple years ago, also in AEW, when they had the guy with the nails in his back, when they had his best friend basically in the wrestling world on a show, who's known for the more extreme side of wrestling, with weapons and blood and all the sorts. This particular guy's weapon of choice is a pizza cutter. He pizza cuttered a guy in the chest while licking the blood off the pizza cutter. AEW went to picture-in-picture for their ad. Who was the first
Tombstone?
commercial? No, you're on the right page, though.
Did you know?
No, it was Domino's.
A Domino's.
But Domino's ad is playing on one side of the PIP, and on the other side is this guy licking a bloody pizza cutter. It was poetry in motion, really. But I wonder what the advertisers might say about that, because if you don't have advertisers, you don't have a TV show, regardless if you have a 5-year deal or not. If your advertisers leave, you don't have a show. So I hope for AEW's sake that doesn't happen, because I particularly like the product that they deliver. But think that kind of thing you save for independent shows in high school fucking gyms or maybe a pay-per-view. I don't know if that's really something you want to put on regular TV, because WWE was the only wrestling thing for 20 some odd years, right? They didn't show blood. And if someone did bleed, they would cut away from it or shoot it from wide angle. And if they recapped it or they talked about it, they would always show stuff in black and white, because people are squeamish when it comes to blood. Not everybody, but you got to think about the whole audience. And now here's AEW over there with two guys trying to pull these nails that are pulling the skin.
They couldn't. Wait, they did it in front of everyone. They didn't even go to the back to do it.
No, it was right in the middle of the ring. Like the one guy runs up, another wrestler tries to do it. He sees that he's just pulling skin and calls the referee over. No kayfabe at all. Comes over and says, "Help." I'm going to go buy you some time. I'm going to go over here while you take care of this.
That's really weird that they went off script like that, in the sense of like just not taking him off stage for some reason or whatever.
I don't have the answers for it, because the psychology that this particular wrestler, John Moxley, is who we're talking about. I don't understand what his character is right now, what he's doing. He loves mud show wrestling. The person behind John Moxley loves backyard wrestling, loves the underground scene. And I think he keeps trying to make that mainstream. And there's a reason why that type of wrestling is still done in high school gymnasiums and barns and shit in people's backyards, because it's not TV friendly.
Trying to make fetch happen. I get it.
Trying to what?
Just trying to make trying to make it a thing.
I thought you said something about Fletch, and I got excited.
Oh, sorry.
Fletch is one of the greatest movies ever.
Fletch lives.
Also one of the greatest movies ever.
Wrestling is just pretending. Oh, you already said that. But yeah, I mean,
I've met a lot of wrestlers over the years, and I'm discovering that none of them are ever going to be able to take the picture that I want to take with a wrestler, which is them picking me up and getting ready to body slam me. Both of us looking at the camera at the same time, though, when we take the picture. I just want to be upside down. But nobody will do it.
You have to be in a ring, I think, because then if you do accidentally fall, you're on like a cushion thing.
That's true.
Probably can't do it on the convention floor where it's like, oh, it's concrete. Oh, you can break your back. Oh, yeah.
There's some wrestlers out there that will. This is too deep and nerdy, but there's a move called a chop, where someone takes their hand and forearm and slaps it across your chest.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So kind of a slapping motion like this.
Yeah.
That does not work for audio people, but look it up. So when you meet this particular wrestler, if you want to, he will chop you afterward and take a picture with your bleeding chest. That's not my kind of thing. I don't think I want to meet somebody and then have them kick the shit out of me.
He chops that hard, he makes you bleed?
Yeah, I've seen a couple people, he's broke skin, he's chopped him so hard.
Wow.
But people are there for it. That's what they come for. They're like, don't hold back. Fanatics, man. A fan is short for fanatic, which is fanatical, right?
Yes.
And so fanaticals do fanatical shit.
Can't argue with you there. Yes, that's true.
I mean, how many times have you seen people meet a voice actor and started crying in front of them because they voiced a character that had 4 lines in the anime the kid saw? But it meant so much to that person,
People wait Hall H, people wait in line for days just to see their celebrity crush or whatever from 700 feet back. So, I don't know.
That's one other thing I love about WonderCon is that there's no Hall H. There's no
there's no
people
there's
camping for 4 days to go into Hall H for 2 hours. Pay $1,000 to sit around for fucking 4 days on the grass.
Yeah, WonderCon does not have. LA Comic Con does something that I wish more cons would do, which is their main Hall H stage is in the center of the sales area, so anyone can watch the big interviews and the big celebrities up on the big screen because it's in the place that everyone can gather. So you're never crowded. You're never kept out of a room. You can stand wherever you want, see the giant screen. You might not be able to hear very well, but you can see what's going on. You can see the celebrity up on stage. I thought, God, LA Comic Con, such a smart idea. Not good for the vendors that are around the stage.
Yes, I mean, we have experienced this exact thing in our own convention, hosting.
Well, now we can talk about it since it's defunct, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually wearing the shirt right now.
Oh, there you go, Great Philly Comic Con.
Yeah, the Great Philadelphia Comic Con, definitely defunct, gone, but when they did their show, they put the panel rooms in open air, not in actual panel rooms. They just set up curtains that were as thin as tissue paper.
Yeah. It's separated by banners.
Yeah, to block sound, and obviously that doesn't work.
No. Which is kind of...
Francis and I were sitting on couches with celebrities. On the couch, 3 feet from sitting from somebody and not being able to hear them whatsoever.
Which makes me... I've always wondered, because I never asked, and I feel like I should have. I was like, how well did the audience hear? Even though we were all on mics, how well did they hear with all the noise? Like, could they still hear us well? If we couldn't hear each other.
I know that when I was doing the BB-8, the BB-8 show or whatever, that John Barrowman was on the other side, and the guy just said, can we just go sit in the crowd because I can't hear what you're saying?
Same thing with Hercules, if I recall. I think Hercules had the same...
little bit. I was more worried about Hercules going off on a religious tangent.
He said he wouldn't.
Yes, but that's not when the showrunner is the last thing he says to you before you walk through the curtain. It's like, oh, okay.
From what I recall, from what I recall, he was fairly nice in general.
He was. Yeah, he was fun. He was a fun guy to talk to. Kevin Sorbo. And I mean, it's old news now at this point, but the whole, disappointed, that wasn't a line he was supposed to speak. That was direction.
No. Yeah.
I guess not direction, but what the emotion he was supposed to convey without saying anything.
It's still my favorite thing to like, because he went all in.
Oh, completely.
He just went all in on that line, and I love it. Like, oh, it's so funny.
It's a classic. It is a classic. You just you save it on the YouTubes. So if you just need a giggle, you're just like, let's watch Hercules for a second here. Oh yes, that was a great 12 seconds. Yeah. Well, this was a great hour and 15 minutes almost, Francis.
Yeah, it was.
It will be by the time this is over. Francis, tell everybody where they can find you on the internet.
So I consolidated everything to linktree.com/aka the other guy, that has my books, that has all my social media, that has every link you'll ever need at linktree.com.
I should do a link tree. Then I have to fucking remember everything.
Yeah. It's still my name, and everything is still aka the other guy, but if you just go to linktree.com/aka the other guy, it has links to everything I'm doing right now. Which isn't much. It's just the books and these podcasts. So there you go.
Shows, Francis. Shows,
exactly. It's no longer podcast.
Exactly. Shows. Apparently. We're just learning this tonight.
Yeah.
What can you do? We'll be back next week, everybody. You can find me at 303_ninja on the Twitters, 303_ on the Instagram. Wait. Backwards. 303_ ninja on the Twitters, 303 ninja on the Instagram. I'm going to do a link tree so you don't have to worry about all this. Call, text, or voicemail the show. It'll be fun. 314-764-7631. Email us
what
at
happens.
what? Go ahead.
This is what happens with 75 minutes of talking their push. Listen to Josh.
Well, I've been talking basically for 75 minutes too. so
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Talk a lot.
The motor starts to run out, and my day job. I have to talk to people and not this nice of tone, but
Exactly.
Where did I leave off? Email us at thepoipodcast@gmail.com. I think that's everything.
That's it.
That's everything.
Link tree next week, so then it's all in one
Yeah, I'll
place.
do a
Have
link
good
tree,
night,
and
Ginger.
that'll be scrolling across the top of the thing too. Maybe if I can figure out how to modify this. We'll be back next week. I have nothing else to say. Francis, you got anything else?
No.
I wish you did, because.
Well, okay.
Here it is.
If you're at WonderCon, see you then.
Be at WonderCon this weekend. Look for Francis. He'll have a big arrow on top of his head. See ya.